Hey guys, a lot of you are asking for Geralt guide, so I'm trying to get this one out as soon as possible. If I miss something, maybe I'll add it in another video. But here we have Geralt. He is a watcher unit, also part of the Dimension Travelers. He's the main leader for the Dimension Travelers, main leader for collaboration units who can be buffed up. Past collaboration units as well, and probably future collaboration units as well. He's got a leadership aura for them. Drifter camp and Fortitude camp as well. Now Geralt has a high attack stat. That's where he's going to get his main damage. He can do both magic attacks and he can do physical attacks as well, making him very versatile. And he has a very average or below average speed as well. But that is there for a reason we'll get into later. So in his trait magic attack, he's unaffected by buffs and debuffs and always equals physical attack. It's a bit of a contradiction. We may have to clear this up later, because if magic attack always equals your physical attack, then what does it matter if you're buffing your magical attack or debuffing your magical attack? Maybe somebody can give us more details in the comments section as well. And then he gains Witcher potions as well. So he's got these 4 potions that he can use. It's a decision skill, and he can have 2 potions used at the same time. Also increases his crit by 10%. At 2 stars he increases his crit by 20%. After using any potion, he's going to gain regen 1 for 3 turns. So he can start regenning himself. At 3 stars, he's going to increase his movement by 1 tile, which is very nice for him. Also damage reduction 1 for 3 turns. And at the start of the battle, gains 1 stack of Quen Shield. Quen Shield's really cool. It's a physical shield of 15% of his HP, up to 4 stacks. When broken, the shield deals 35% magical AoE damage to all enemies within 3 tiles and knocks the adjacent target, the targets next to him, back by 1 tile. When multiple stacks are broken at once, effects stacked. So if, for instance, 2 of his shields are broken, he's going to be dealing 70% damage and he's going to knock the enemies back by 2 tiles. At 4 stars, he's going to increase his crit 30% and regen 2, damage reduction 1 stays the same there. After performing physical attacks, inflicts physical defense down 1 on the target for 3 turns. After performing magical attacks, inflicts magic defense down 1 on target for 3 turns. It's very outdated debuffs, the ones, but anyway. At 5 stars, going to reduce all skill energy costs by 1. After using any potion, he's going to gain damage reduction 2 for 3 turns, only at 5 stars. And only at 5 stars, after performing physical attacks, he inflicts physical defense down 2 and magic defense down 2. At the start of the battle, gains 2 stacks of Quen Shield. I would say that 3 stars is actually enough for him. You get the extra movement, that's very important for him. And then you gain 1 stack of Quen Shield there. For skills, he comes with Quen Sign. It's another decision skills. He's got tons of decision skills, which gives us tons of decisions as well as what skills to choose. So this one, you can choose to use Quen Swift Guard. It's going to be a support instant. You gain 1 stack of Quen Shield. Or you can use Quen Fortified support. It's a non-instant. So you gain 4 stacks of Quen Shield. I do like the skill a lot to sort of build him as a tank that is very heavily shielded. It's good to just leave him on his own, you know, on auto as well, and he's just going to be, those shields are going to be exploding, dealing magical AoE damage to enemies around him. So at rank 1, we can choose another decision skill on the left here, Igni Sign. So this one, you know, fire, this one you can select Igni Rotation or Igni Fire Stream. Before activating any Igni sign, the character gains armor piercing for 1 turn. So with this skill, we can choose 2 skills as well. So all of these decision skills, I think they have an instant, and then the second skill is a non-instant. The instants are no energy cost, and then the non-instant skills are usually like 3 energy costs. So the first skill we can choose here is going to be 20% fire AoE damage to enemies within 3 tiles of the character, and causes the character's physical attacks to deal additional 20% magical damage until the end of the turn. So that is the instant version. The non-instant version is going to deal 4 hits of 40%. So that's going to be a total of 160% fire AoE damage to all enemies in a 3x3 area in front of him. Before attacking, attack increases by 40%. And when you use either of these skills, you're also gaining armor piercing, which is great value for these skills. So yeah, there's a number of ways to build him. Very difficult. He's got so many decision skills as well. So it's hard for me to recommend any one skill because there's multiple builds for him. But I've gone for this decision skill on the left here. I've also gone for this skill on the right here. It's 3 energy cost, finish a whirl, 3 hits of 50% AoE damage to all enemies in such an area. In an area like so, it's really not that great. This is just flat raw damage that he's doing. It's quite high energy cost as well. But the reason I've gone for this is because of some of his other skills will sort of make the enemies squishy and just increase the value of this attack. And another reason I've gone for this skill is because all of these sign skills, you can only use one of them per turn. If I'm running this skill, this and this skill, then 3 skills like that, although they are instants, you can only use one of them per turn. So to alternate, I've run just a normal regular skill. So I can use one of these and then I can use this skill. And then at rank 3, I've gone for the skill on the left, another sign skill here, another decision skill. So the first instant version of the skill is going to knock back the first target in a 1x3 area in the selected direction by 2 tiles. If the target is at the end, only knocks back 1 tile. If the target is an item, deals 100% damage to the item. All targets take 50% increased final damage from the character's next attack. This effect lasts for 1 turn. So another way that he's making enemies more squishy for his next attack. You can use this at an instant and then you can use a different kind of attack. Like you could use the whirl after you've used this instant and then the whirl's going to do that extra percent damage, 50% increased damage to the enemies. Then the non-instant decision skill is going to knock the first enemy in each column 3x3 area in the selected direction by 4 tiles. If it's an item, it deals 300% damage. So I've gone for this skill. It's very high value with the knockbacks. These guys are going to shine in the Tower of Adversity, I think. But great to have knockbacks, and we can also make enemies a little bit more vulnerable. And then the skill on the right is another finisher skill, Rend. Also 3 energy cost, deals 180% AoE damage to all targets within 4 tiles in front in an area in a straight line like so. Before attacking, increase attack by 40%, so you can hit like up to 4 enemies like that. I generally don't like these skills that are in a straight line, usually difficult to execute, and on auto it's kind of a nightmare. Also the game is just built for, you know, mob clearing, and that's why this skill I prefer. It's just going to help you with that mob clearing, or even Tower of Adversity stages where you need to clear a lot of mobs. You can clear a lot of enemies at once like this. This is very difficult to pull off, even though it's got a little bit more attack. Even here we're getting 150% damage to all enemies in a much more generous area. But this skill is also going to benefit a little bit from his Ascension skill, so have your pick there between this one, or maybe you don't even have to go for either of these skills if you prefer. See, there's lots of ways to build him. Rank 5, I've gone for his unique reaction skill, which is going to reduce his damage 20% and range damage taken by additional 20%, making him more tanky. I want to build him as kind of an auxiliary tank with all of those shields, and he's doing passive damage when those shields are breaking. When targeted by single target attacks, performs dodge. This is very powerful. Can be triggered up to 1 time per round. So he's always got a dodge against at least 1 single target attack. If he's facing 1 enemy per turn, he's basically unkillable. Performs assisting cover for dimension travel allies within 3 tiles around him when they take physical attacks. It's just for dimension units, unfortunately, because it will be very nice with that dodge as well. At rank 7, I've gone for the skill, the sign skill again, on the left side here. This one is not a decision skill, so it's an instant. For all enemies within 3 tiles of him, inflicts move down 2, speed down 2, vulnerable 2 on them before they attack for 2 turns, then deals 2 hits of 30% AoE damage. A little bit of DPS we get here. It's not worded correctly. It inflicts these debuffs before he attacks, not before the enemy attacks. So it's a very good skill. in that way, because he can just use this as an instant and make the enemies more squishy. He can slow them down. He can slow enemies down so much that his low speed is less relevant. He can even slow enemies down so much that he attacks them twice. So I love this skill to really penalize the enemy, make them more squishy. Again, vulnerable 2 there. You can use this skill to prime the enemies, and then you can use another attack like maybe the whirlwind. Although this is just flat damage, you know, it gets better. The skill on the right over here is a passive, reduces damage taken by 20%. When attacking targets with bound, damage increases by 20%. It's not that great, and for a whole skill slot, I'm just not impressed with this skill. Just 20% damage reduction. You can get damage reduction in other sources as well, and it has to be against bound enemies to increase your damage by 20%. Ceiling attack, I've never been a fan. Inflicts no passive skills on injured enemies. The enemies have to be injured, and then you can inflict no passive skills. Also, because so many enemies are immune to no passive skills, you know, this can become irrelevant, but against mobs it could be good. I've just gone for the flat 110% physical damage there to increase his attack. But just keep in mind, you know, he can injure enemies. If he's using instant skills, he can injure them before even attacking them, and then you can inflict no passive skills on just one enemy. And at rank 11, we have another sign skill on the left here. Instant single target attack. Before attacking, inflicts stagger. No passive skills and no reaction skills on the target for 2 turns, then deals 70% damage. Only single target, short range. I'm not a fan of this skill. It's also a sign skill, so if you do use this as an instant, it means you can't use any of the other sign skills within the same turn, because you can only use one per turn. So just overall, I'm just not a fan. Much higher value skill. Here is his advanced leadership aura. For all Dimension Traveler allies, attack 10, defense 20, increase damage and piercing damage by 10%. When attacking targets who are bound, additionally increase damage 20%. This is great to have your Geralt act as a more support unit. It's also going to help himself, obviously, but it's a much higher value skill there. And then for Ascension skills, he's got a generic one there, but I like the unique Ascension skill. So each time damage is dealt, gains 1 stack of Battle Trance. When dealing damage through Finisher Rend, that skill that attacks enemies in a straight line, the character can gain 5 stacks. So what is Battle Trance? Increase attack and defense 1% up to 10 stacks. So he can increase his attack and defense up to 10%. Every time he just deals damage, he's dealing damage a lot of the time. It's very easy to get up to 10 stacks very quickly. Even without Finisher Rend, you don't really need this to get up to 10 stacks. And then at level 2, each stack of Battle Trance additionally increases damage by 1%. So we can increase our damage up another 10% there. And then at level 3, we can increase our damage an additional 20% there. So what skills can we actually run in our 3 skill slots? Very tricky here, so many decision skills. I can't give you one build, but I've gone for powerful attack for the basic attack. Reaction is easy to select there, and then what I'm running currently, I love the Quain Shield skill to make him more of a tank. I like to give him the stacks of shields. It's also going to deal the magic damage once the shields are broken, so he is dealing damage there. So that's what I use to make him more tanky. And then I'm running Finisher Whirl, because you can only use one sign skill per turn, so just to alternate, use a sign skill and then use a regular skill. Then I use this for his damage. And then for the other slot, I love the skill here in spin attack, physical damage, single sign skill, instant. For all enemies around him, like so, he's gonna just, you know, really penalize them and slow them down, deal some damage as well. Just prime the enemies, make them a little bit more squishy, and then you can execute this attack to deal damage to enemies. Alternatively, if you want to go full sign build, you can take out Finisher Whirl and you can put Igni Sign there to do the fire damage to enemies. Also coming with some piercing fire damage to the enemies, like so, for more damage. Or you can switch it out for the other sign to do knockbacks. A lot of options here if you want to do knockbacks to enemies, but knockbacks are not going to do damage themselves, so he's still lacking DPS if you select this, which is why I like to run this, just to give him some physical damage, because we are getting magical damage from the Quain shields once they break. So we have magical damage and we have some physical damage. So just a balanced, some more physical damage there. A balanced build here. Or if you want to, you can switch out the shields here and put the leadership aura there maybe, to make him more of a support unit for other allies. A lot of options. Okay, let's jump into gear. I'll show you what I'm running. So here is Geralt's astral gear. I can only see a 5-star version of this, so I can't say how good it's going to be at lower ranks like 1, 2 or 3 stars. But at 5 stars, before activating any sign skill, increase attack and defense by 32% until the start of the next turn. That's very good for him if you do have a 5-star copy as well. It's a lot, attack and defense by 32%. He can basically keep this indefinitely because he's almost always activating a sign skill each turn. So just increasing, you know, overall stats there, it's very good for him. But at lower stars, I'm guessing, you know, at 1, 2 stars, it may just be something like 12% or so. You guys will know more than me. So in that instance, if you're just going up to about 3 stars, there are free-to-play options which are gonna kind of match those numbers a little bit more and save you a lot of resources. So for me, I'm not willing to go above, you know, 2 stars to pull on this astral gear anyway, so I'm just going to use free-to-play options. But if you have the resources, then this could be very good for him. So what I'm actually doing is I'm saving these tickets that they're giving us, these rewards that they're giving us. It's a very high value, and I'm saving them for future units, for the element units, for their astral gear as well. Because I can get away with some alternative builds for this, for the collaboration units. So let's take a look at some other free-to-play options. I like the Guardian's Will. So the Guardian's Will just makes him more tanky, which is kind of the build I like to go for. So HP increased by 10%. When having a shield, increase defense by 40% and decrease damage by 10%. Just making him a little bit more obnoxious for the enemy. They can't really beat him. When he's having shields, he has shields a lot with the Quen shield. We're going to make him very tanky. Alternative could be the Newborn Blade. You get the HP there as well, and you get some more physical attack for him. If you want to increase his crit, Void Stab and crit damage, he can have a high crit value as well with his potions. We have the Dawn Moon here. Aisha's weapon, increased defense 10% at 1 stars. When casting a single target class support skill, I think his sign skills are support skills, both the character and the target simultaneously gain Dawn Moon Glow. I'm not sure if this will take effect on him. If it does, this would be a very good option for him if you do have this thing to increase defense. But I'm not sure about this one. And then for the trinket over here, I've gone for the Shield of Justice. Even 1 star is great. When having a physical shield, you can increase his attack and defense 6%. He almost always has physical shield, so we can get that. Also, this is going to give him a shield at the beginning of the battle, which is going to activate the effect of the Guardian's Will. When having a shield, you're going to increase defense by 40%. So just by having this, you automatically ensure that you're activating this effect. You will get lots of other shields later anyway for the Guardian's Will, but this just helps him to have it from the first turn as well. Maybe another option could be the Bloodlux's Amulet, increase magical damage when the shields explode especially. I like the Origin Hourglass for physical attack, and then you can be immune to those debuffs, which could be good for him. Cure of Spring as well, 5-star copy. You can make him more tanky there, more tankiness with the Crystal Burst armor maybe. Fancy Hat I also like on him to make him immune to disruptions. You could also use Prairie Fire as well as the Flying Blade Arm Guard to activate his unique Ascension skill to get, whenever he does damage, he gains 1 stack of Battle Trance to increase your stacks there. Even items like the Crystallize to gain physical shield. If you have a high star copy, you can use this thing up to 2 times per battle. Because of the fact that he has so many instant skills, you can just use the instant skills first, and then he has like another action in essence, and then you can use this even though it's going to end his turn when you activate this. I think it's worth it for him. The same thing with Berserk Incense as well. If you have a high star copy of this thing as well, it could be worth it. You know, you can increase his movement by 1 tile, increase his damage 20% for 2 turns. You can use this twice per battle. And then again, this is just a defensive build that I've gone for. I know there could be a lot more offensive builds that may be good for his offense, but again, I'm going to increase his shield value with the Guide of Stars Tarot here. Increase your shield by 8% and increase shield value receives by another 8% over there. An alternative could be maybe the Justice Tarot to increase his crit chance, and then you could go for his Astral Weapon as well to increase his overall damage as well. That would be a more offensive build. And I've gone for Sword and Wand Engraving. Also, you want to increase that physical attack because, as it says in his trait, his magic attack is always going to equal his physical attack. So, right, let's demonstrate his skills in an actual fight. We're gonna run the decision skill that gives us shields. We're also gonna run this instant skill that applies all those penalties on the enemies, and then we're gonna run the finisher whirl. Okay, so he's got a shield there from his trinket shield of justice. He's giving him a little bit of shield there, and it's just enough. Doesn't matter how much it is. It's gonna activate our Guardian's Will, so his defense will be increased by 40%, decreased damage 10%. So let's first start with his additional skill, the potions he has here. So let's start with Swallow. It's going to restore his HP by 35% and gain Swallow, which is an HP regen. And then the second one here is going to gain Thunderbolt. So you can use two at once, and then it goes into sort of a fatigue state where you can't use any potions until the other potions are finished. So these potions are going to still run for another 3 turns. So Swallow is going to give him a 35% HP regen at the end of the turn, helping him with that tankiness. Thunderbolt is the one that's going to increase his physical attack by 20% for 3 turns. And then we have also Thorny Owl. It's going to give him 1 energy, restore 1 energy over there. And gains Thorny Owl. I think that's going to restore an extra 1 energy at the end of his turns as well. Murraybor Forest. This one's going to increase his crit. So we can increase his crit by 30%. Thorny Owl, restore 1 energy at the end of the turn. Restore 1 energy after using this skill. So he's up to 4 energy now. This is very good for his energy sustain if we want to be using skills like these 3 energy cost skills. A lot of his skills, the second part of his decision skills, you can see costs 3 energy. Same thing with his knockback decision skill, 3 energy at the bottom, and the fire, the ignis skill, also 3 energy at the bottom. Let's just backtrack here. So what I like to do is we can do something like this. We can give him the Quench Shield. We use the instant one where we can gain 1 stack of Quench Shields. The one at the bottom is not an instant. It's going to end his turn, but you gain 4 stacks of Quench Shields. So we'll just give him 1 stack.
Don't mind if I do.
And there we go, he's got that shield. So he has both the shield from Shield of Justice, that small shield, and then he has the 15% shield, even though they are separate, even though they are on the same bar over there. And now you can see we're not able to use any of the other sign skills. You can only use 1 per turn. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give him some regen here, make him a little bit more tanky. And maybe we'll increase his crit chance as well there. And I'm not going to do anything. I'm actually just going to end his turn just to show you how tanky he is and how much damage he does with those shields. So there's the first free dodge he gets. When the shields break, he's going to knock them back and deal the magical damage. He only had 1 Quench shield, and so that's why, you know, it just done a little bit of damage and knocked them back just a couple of tiles. But if he had multiple Quench shields, for instance, they would be knocked back way further and do much more damage. And so now you can see we're already up to 9 stacks. You know, the maximum is 10 stacks. We're already up to 9 stacks of battle trance whenever he does damage. You don't need to be running that other skill that gives him an extra 5 stacks. He's already at the max here. So what I can do now is I can give him some more shields if I want to. Why don't we just give him 4 shields and we see what happens.
Don't mind if I do.
That's going to end his turn. There's the free dodge. He's not immune to knockbacks, unfortunately. We'll just bring him over here. Knockback immunity would have been very good for this guy.
Any last words?
You can see much more damage. No knockbacks there because he has to be adjacent to the enemies. And he still has some shields left over. You can imagine if he has 3 stacks of Quench shields. If they break a number of these shields, you can just imagine how many tiles the enemies are going to be knocked back. Like if they broke 3 shields, they'll be knocked back by 3 tiles. And they'll deal 105% magic damage to all enemies around him. Just backtrack over here and show some of the other skills. So this skill, I really love this skill. The Yerden Spin attack. Instant, you can apply all move down, speed down, vulnerable 2 on the enemies, and some damage as well.
Eat this.
So you can see we've actually applied those debuffs to the enemies before we even attack them. Move down 2, speed down 2, You can see the speed is down by 57, vulnerable 2. This is going to allow your allies to attack earlier. Help all your team to move earlier by applying the speed down to. Now we've made them nice and squishy for this attack, and then you can do something like this and just finish off the enemies with finish. I guess that's why they called it Finisher World, because he first primes the enemies and then he finishes them off. Let's just move him in a little closer to the enemies. I just want to show you how powerful the speed down is on the enemies. So we can... He's making them vulnerable, that's why he's killing them basically. And so we can actually hit this guy, and we've slowed him down now with the speed down to 135. We can actually just hit him with a basic attack here. On round 2 now.
Come on.
And we've actually outsped him so much that we can actually hit him again. He didn't even get to move because we've applied the speed down on him. So that's how powerful the speed down is, and you can use this every turn. Next, why don't we increase his physical attack with Thunderbolt?
Don't mind if I do.
And then we can prime the enemies, maybe like so.
Eat this.
Their speeds are all gonna drop. And then we can do the finisher move like that. And you can finish enemies off like that. So he's actually also a very heavy debuffer and a support unit also in that sense. Okay, let's switch out some skills here. We're going to switch out the Quench Shield, and we're going to demonstrate Igni for the fire damage. Also, we're going to demonstrate the Odd Sign for the knockbacks. Not going to show the Leadership Aura, that's pretty straightforward. Okay, so now we're running full sign build here, which is not ideal because you can only use one per turn. But just to demonstrate, you have the instant on top here, which is no energy cost, and then you have the more powerful version, which is usually 3 energy at the bottom over there. So we'll use the instant here. You can see a nice AoE area of fire damage. He's also gaining access to armor piercing whenever he does a fire skill. So we can do something like that.
Any last words?
Or we can go for the non-instant version, much more powerful fire damage. Again, also doing armor piercing. You can even take down the big guy at the back there.
Any last words?
Does end his turn though.
All over now.
And then for the knockbacks, we have the instant version over here. You can see you'll run into energy problems, which is why you're going to be needing this Tawny Owl.
Don't mind if I do.
Should use this usually first, and then you'll have enough energy for your skills. So the first version is going to be a knockback in a straight line.
Eat this.
Like so. Okay, on the next turn you can see he's up to full energy because of that potion we drank. It's very good for that energy sustain. And the second one is going to be a much more generous knockback. And we can knock back a lot of enemies. Knock them back 4 tiles, so we'll knock these guys right off.
Any last words?
So one last thing I would like to show you is just how strong he is with that reaction skill of his, with the dodges he gains access to. Remember, you can dodge once per turn. So if he's fighting like one enemy, for example, he's just constantly dodging. And actually he's unkillable against like one enemy.
Nice try.
So I hope I helped you have a better understanding of his skills and the skill selection. It's very tough with all these decision skills that he has, but I like to have some shields that he can have there. It's also going to give him damage, magical damage. And then you could even run Leadership Aura over there too. Yeah, and it's good to have one of these non-sign skills so that you can alternate between them. And I really love this one for the speed down especially, and the move down. Very good damaging and support skill for his allies as well. This is going to help his Dimension Traveler allies as well. Just an estimation of Geralt's strengths and weaknesses. Just ignore that, a formatting issue that I'm having with the charts, so I've had to add a blank there. So for DPS, we give Geralt a 6. He's just got flat raw damage, no piercing damage or anything like that. But his main damage is coming in his other skills, sort of softening the enemies, and then he does even more damage. But just on his own, I've given him a 6. And for AoE, he's got decent AoE when those shields pop. The finisher whirl as well. Just mid-range AoE is doing for support. Given him a 6 there for his leadership aura specifically, and even some of his skills you could consider support skills, that he's slowing the enemies down, keeping them in place, priming them for his allies, and debuffing. So those skills I'm referring to really penalizes the enemies. That speed down 2, slowing enemies down. Very heavy debuffer. I love that speed down that he's applying on enemies, making enemies more squishy as well, keeping them in place. He is a very heavy debuffer. Tankiness, I've given him a 7 there. Not the best defensive base stats, but his shielding and his regeneration and that dodge in his reaction really makes him quite tanky. So for that I've given him a 7 there. Could be an 8. Speed, given him a 5 there. Not very speedy unit. And movement as well is not great. Given him a 6 there for range, but he is going to increase his movement at 3 stars, 4 tiles. But still, he doesn't really have access to much dodges or teleports or anything like that. So, and then range, also a 6 there. Just above average range. And then auto, haven't tested him much on auto, just a few battles. And looks like the AI is decent. The decision skills is going to be very tricky for the AI. They're just going to use the same decision skills over and over. Probably the first 2 decision skills, but just the fact that he has so many shields, if you're building him in a defensive build, then that's going to be a good build for auto. You know, it doesn't matter what he's doing. He's going to be tanky, he's going to be regenning, and then those shields are going to damage and knock back the enemies around him. You can give him a 7 there, maybe a 6. And then for team player, I've given him a 7. Team player, you see how he's priming enemies for his allies to do more damage to them. Leadership aura in there, very much working with his teammates. Resource investment is not high, it's just a 6. I don't think you have to go for his astral gear. I think there are alternatives there. And I think that 3 stars is enough for him. You know, you don't have to push him to 4 or 5 stars. Difficulty 7. It's not too difficult. A few things you just need to know how to use different decision skills, what skill build you're going to do. I think the difficulty is in building him. There's so many options. Cool or not, I've just given him a 6 here. Maybe that should be 7 because he has the leadership aura. For all collaboration units it seems. So I think maybe that should be a 7 for that reason alone. But on his own, I honestly think he's kind of a mid unit. But he does have things in his kit that make him very special. Those knockbacks are very powerful. There's a lot of cool things you can do with him. I think he's just a really fun unit to play with because there's so many options, so many decision skills. But I think a 6 or a 7 there is okay. Future proof, I've given him a 7 there. He's got a lot of things in his kit, a lot of things that will always be relevant, so I think he can be used into the future. And again, just ignore that, it's just for formatting purposes. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one, I hope you're enjoying the collaboration. I will be working on Triss's guide as well. A lot of you asking for the guides for the rest of the units. I'm not sure if I'm going to get Yennefer, maybe when she releases, then I can maybe cover her then.